Many different factors can make a vehicle out as being incredible. A car's speed might make it incredible. Perhaps the size of a vehicle might make it incredible too. Sometimes it's just the sheer uniqueness of the purpose that it was designed for that makes it incredible, and marks it out as being different from any other vehicle around it. Every vehicle you're about to see in this video definitely qualifies as incredible. And so it's time to sit back and prepare to be amazed. If you're a millionaire or a billionaire and you already have one or two huge luxury mansions, what could you possibly buy that's bigger than a mansion and identifies you as being a step ahead of your fellow millionaires? Well, how about the Aeroscraft ML866 Super Sky Yacht, which could be your own private flying mansion. The massive flying vessel looks like something from science fiction, but it's genuine, and it's available for purchase right now. Not quite an airship or a blimp, the Aeroscraft is a new type of flying vehicle that's as big as a super yacht and has an operational range of 3,000 miles. Loosely based on American military plans for a heavy-lift vehicle known as Project Walrus, the luxury vessel has a cabin area of more than 5,500 feet and is capable of vertical takeoff and landing from any terrain. That means it can go anywhere its owner wants to take their guests. If you're finding yourself tempted to buy one by this description and these pictures, all you need to do is contact the Worldwide Aeros Corps and agree to pay the construction price of approximately $40 million. Shrieve isn't a hugely descriptive name for a type of transport, so let's refer to it by what it is in execution. It's a monorail system powered by humans. Right now, it's just an unusual adventure park attraction in New Zealand, allowing people to race each other through a network of tubes for entertainment. But designer Jeffrey Barnett hopes it will one day become a viable form of public transport. The Shrieve is an overhead rail circuit suspended 16 feet above street level, with air bikes hanging below the tracks. Humans simply climb onto the bikes and pedal themselves to wherever they wish to go. As a public transport solution, it's cheap, fast, and environmentally friendly. The tracks are low resistance, and the bikes are designed to be more aerodynamic than a regular road bike, so speeds of up to 30 miles an hour are easy to achieve. That's faster than most buses in busy inner-city areas. Jeffrey is hoping to persuade authorities in Tokyo to allow him to build a test track there. If you look at it from a distance, you might think that the Vizcaya Bridge in the town of Portugalete in Spain is just another suspension bridge. Get up close to it, however, and you'll see that it's a lot more exciting than that. It's an ingenious work of engineering, made all the more remarkable by the fact that it was designed in 1893. Designed to connect two towns without disturbing shipping traffic, the 200-foot-tall arches of the bridge ensure even the largest of ships can pass through easily. While along the 538-foot length of the bridge, there's a gondola system which carries humans in their cars above the waterway. It's so well designed that the original gondola system is still in use to this day, with little in the way of modernization work. Every 8 minutes, 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year, a gondola connected to the upper walkway of the bridge collects a handful of passengers and up to 6 vehicles and swings them across to the other side of the Nervion River. It's such an unusual and iconic creation that UNESCO has awarded it World Heritage status. The Big Wind fire truck is an emergency services vehicle that was designed according to an unusual idea. If you want to extinguish a massive fire, the best thing you can use in the attempt is a pair of jet engines. Designed in Hungary during the 1990s, Big Wind is little more than an old Soviet tank with 2 MiG engines attached to it, and yet it's ideally suited for the task it was designed to serve. It's too large to use in a typical residential fire, but when there's a potential disaster about to happen, such as a fire on an oil tanker or an oil rig, Big Wind has sometimes been the difference between a near miss and a total catastrophe. It was initially put to use dealing with oil well fires in the country it was built in, but since the turn of the century it's been in Kuwait, putting out fires on oil fields. Despite its size and power, it only needs a crew of 3 to run. one to drive, one to manage the jet engines, and another to control the water jets. The name Cosmic Muffin might be a little whimsical for some people's tastes, but don't let that put you off the concept of the vehicle. It's one of very few examples of an old plane being successfully recycled as a boat and demonstrating commercial value. It's not just any old plane either. The Boeing 307 Stratoliner that's been re-engineered into a boat was once the property of eccentric aviation pioneer Howard Hughes. In fact, some of the furnishings inside the cabin were put there by Hughes. He was notorious for his love of women and parties and turned the plane into a flying penthouse to entertain romantic partners. By 1964, the aircraft had changed ownership and was severely damaged in a storm, which made it unsafe to fly. Usually it would have been scrapped, but an engineer bought it in 1974 and took it to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where the transformative work was done. So much attention to detail has been paid to the original mechanics that the controls of the plane now operate the boat. The seafaring vessel Turinor Planet Solar has made history for more than one reason. When it was first launched in 2010, it was the biggest wholly solar-powered boat in world history. Just 2 years later, it became the first solar-powered vehicle to complete a journey around the world successfully. In our eyes, that makes it a noteworthy and incredible vehicle. The boat is just under 100 feet long, but is covered by more than 1,700 square feet of solar panels, powering one electric motor in each of the Planet Solar's 2 hulls. It was initially intended that the boat would become a luxury yacht for a millionaire after it had completed its round-the-world trip. But instead, it became the flagship of the Race for Water project, a Swiss charity foundation dedicated to solving the problem of plastic pollution in the oceans. In 2015, while working for Race for Water, the boat was responsible for the discovery of the ancient Bronze Age village of Lambayana off the coastline of Greece. Visit a fishing harbor in Peru, and you might find plenty of fishers using tiny little boats called Caballito Totora to go about their business. They aren't found anywhere else in the world but in Peru. They're almost a way of life. With a name that means little horse, it's thought that the reed boats have been used by fishermen in the country for at least 4,000 years, and possibly even longer. If you wanted to think of them another way, you could describe them as the world's first ever surfboard. It takes an average of 2 hours to build one individual Caballito Totora, which are an average of 12 feet long, and have enough space for one person to fit comfortably. Once it's been built, it will be fine to use for between 1 and 2 months before the reeds begin to disintegrate, and a replacement has to be created. If we accept that the unusual little boats are a type of surfboard, then we must also accept that surfing is a Peruvian invention. That will come as a big shock to anyone who's always thought that the activity started somewhere around the Polynesian islands, and so we think that makes these little boats incredible vehicles. Based on the principle alone, there's no way a one-wheeled motorcycle should be considered safe to drive, and yet, here's the Rhino, and it is. Granted, the all-electric vehicle only has a maximum speed of 10 miles per hour, but that's because it's intended to be a faster alternative to walking, as opposed to a road vehicle. The correct term to describe the vehicle is a microcycle, and it was designed after Rhino's CEO Chris Hoffman was shown a drawing of a one-wheeled bike that his young daughter had seen in a video game, and told him how to build it. It took 7 years for him to turn the product from a pipe dream into a sellable product, but since 2014, the Rhino has been a reality. Functionally, the microcycle works like a Segway. You lean forward to increase speed and lean back to take it away. If that makes you feel uncomfortable, you can always use the handbrake to come to a more abrupt stop. Design companies have been trying to come up with a practical and viable commercial die wheel for years, but so far only one team has ever come up with a working model, and every member of that team was an Australian student. This is the vehicle known as Edward, a purely electric die wheel that can also be described as a die cycle. Edward stands for electric die wheel with active rotational damping, which is enough information to let you know that this is a version of a monowheel that comes with comfort and precision. Like a monowheel, the rider sits inside the wheel structure of the vehicle, but the key difference with Edward is that two wheels are working in axial alignment instead of just one. That means the seat can be kept in a fixed position instead of rocking and rolling around as the vehicle moves and spins. This issue, known as the gerbil effect, is what's prevented a successful die wheel model from reaching the market in the past. With that problem solved, it's said that the vehicle enjoys perfect stability at speeds of up to 25 miles per hour. Moving back in time to 1937, this is the Gaz VM, which was also sometimes known as the Natty VM. While it's a genuinely bizarre vehicle to look at now, this was a bold attempt to make a vehicle that can move on roads, across snow, and also on tracks, without requiring extensive alteration or modification for any terrain. Only 2 prototype models of the vehicle were ever created and produced mixed results during testing. While testing was ongoing, the Gaz 61 all-wheel drive vehicle was released, with its revolutionary design system satisfying many of the requirements that were asked of the Gaz VM. Further development was considered unnecessary and the project was quietly scrapped. Nevertheless, it's a car unlike any other built anywhere else in the world, with a combination of a sedan body and removable Caterpillar tracks making for a stark contrast and an instantly recognizable design. The tracks could even safely be left on when the car moves onto a regular road surface, but doing so increased the vehicle's fuel consumption by a factor of 3. Sadly, nobody knows where the prototypes are now. At one point in the not-so-distant past, the Bugatti Veyron was considered to be the ultimate in luxury cars. That's why when Mercier-Jones claimed to have created the Veyron of the hovercraft world, many people sat up and paid attention. Based on the designs of their futuristic vehicle, it doesn't look like they were making too bold a claim. The company, which is based in Chicago, USA, is already known for building luxury hovercrafts, but this model is a step above even the most elaborate of their range. They're not even calling it a hovercraft. Instead, they insist that people should call it the Supercraft. The chassis of the Supercraft is made of a chromium alloy, which, when coupled with the composite hull, gives the whole vessel a total weight of 700 pounds. Any more than that, and it wouldn't be able to glide across the air. Excitingly, the promised top speed is listed at 80 miles per hour. If Mercier-Jones can deliver that speed, it will break the current world record for hovercraft speed by nearly 30 miles per hour. Early versions of the Supercraft are already available, albeit with a top speed of only 56 miles per hour. Clearing away landmines from a minefield isn't a job that even the most experienced soldier relishes. It's massively dangerous work, and so increasingly the world's more advanced militaries aren't asking human beings to do it. Instead, they use devices like the M1 Panther II tank. The 6 units of this tank that have been built so far are currently in the possession of the United States military, and their key strategic advantage is that they can be operated by remote control. At their core, they're just M1 Abrams battle tanks with a few modifications. But the fact they're remote controlled means they can be deployed in dangerous areas without any risk to human life. When it comes to modern warfare, that has to be considered as a big win. The M1 Panther II has already proved to be of great use in Bosnia, Kosovo, and Iraq, and is expected to remain stationed in the Middle East for the foreseeable future. In terms of efficiency, the speedy vehicles can clear 5 square miles in just 60 minutes, allowing human-driven vehicles and personnel on foot to follow on behind them. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.